Hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to book club. You guys ready? Yeah? You guys ready?
To us? Who are you talking
Yeah,
to?
they couldn't hear you
Oh.
yet. I protect you
I
guys.
was confused.
Unless you guys are ready to be perceived,
Can
I'm
they hear
not
us
gonna.
now?
Yes, they can.
No, I never want to be
What?
perceived. Ghost.
You said, "Are you ready?" And then you didn't.
Well, I thought you guys said yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was in the middle of saying I never want to be perceived.
Oh, well, let me just mute you right now. I'll just mute you.
No.
I'm so scared.
Oh my gosh.
Because you said it
Yes.
like, because we could hear you, and you're like, "Hello, everybody," and we're like, "Oh, okay, she's
Yeah.
talking to everybody." And then you're like,
I
"Are
was.
you ready?" And I was like, "Oh, now?"
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry.
First, I
Sorry.
thought you were saying, "Are you ready?" to the people, and I was like, "When do you ever say that? You just go."
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought too. I was like, "Oh,
Oh, sorry. I meant to.
did you see the trigger warnings, everyone?
I meant to.
Are you ready?"
I meant to mute
If you
myself on
are,
y'all's end. I'm so sorry. That's my bad. I
if
just
you are
realized I did not
ready,
do
you're
that.
wrong.
Sorry. Let's do intros, shall we? Hello, everybody. And welcome to On the Same Page. I'm your host, or one of your hosts, Kylie. I'm trying to be professional. Was that professional? Do we like it?
Oh my gosh.
Is
Yes.
that nice? Thank you. I'm your host,
Nice.
Kylie. She, her pronouns. You can also call me Kiele, lemon zest, LZ, zesty, lemon. And I think that's it. I don't think anyone calls me zesty, by the way. That's purely me self-inserting because I would love for someone to call me that, but no one has called me that so far. So, starter question of the day is I don't fucking know. What was your first job? I think that's appropriate.
Oh.
What was your first job? Don't dox yourself. My first job was at a restaurant, fast food restaurant called Zaxby's. I worked there. Actually, my first job technically was working illegally at a spa that my father owned when I was 12.
Oh. Oh.
So
This is some Kylie lore I didn't know about.
Oh, yes. So I technically my first job was working at a spa and I worked front desk when I was like 12, 13 years old. Um and I was very scared of all these scary ladies. They were old and scary. But I did it anyway.
Aw.
Yeah. And I would do laundry and all sorts of stuff. And then my actual for real job that was not illegal was at Zaxby's. Um and I worked
Oh.
there for years. All through high school, I worked there. So there you go.
Nice.
Well,
My first real job, because I like dog sat, baby sat, whatever. But my first like on a payroll job was the call center at Georgia College, where I'd
Stop.
call and ask alumni for donations.
That's
why
amazing.
did again, I didn't know you did that.
You didn't know I did this? Was this
No.
before we were friends?
Were we friends when you did this?
I think this was probably
I would
early
have
sophomore
defriended
year.
you if I knew you were doing this.
You would defriend me?
I
That's
would.
What the
crazy.
heck?
No, you know what? I think it was the end of freshman and beginning of sophomore year because William was working there, and that's how I got that job.
The names.
I'm sorry. Who?
It's William.
Squilliam, sorry.
Dillium.
Yeah.
Valium.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you? You did not introduce yourself. Who are you?
Oh, I I am Ashley, also aka Ash, aka the one of the duo of Ass and Cass. The ass part, Trashly, if we're playing a game. Um, I go by she, her. And yeah, I used to be those annoying people that would call you and be like, "Hello, this is your college. Would you like to donate after you paid and all this money and you're probably still in debt?" Yes? That was me.
Also, I need to correct myself. I think I said she, her for my pronouns. She, they is my pronouns. I was sorry. I'm sorry. That's my wow. I don't even know who I am today. Apparently, uh, just an amorphous blob. I guess.
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, continuing on.
Yeah.
You tell I just worked a crazy ass shift. Anyway, not important.
I will say, I think no.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was
Say it.
gonna
Say
say
it.
one of my one of my funner jobs was working with dementia. I
Mm,
love that.
mm.
I love the job I have now, but that's always a good time. I think about them often.
I love.
Anyway,
I love it. I love working with older adults.
same.
Okay.
But oh, that is.
Last but not least.
Oh, my name is Cassidy. She, her. Um, and my first real taxable job was also in college, and it was at the campus bookstore.
Forgot about that.
Oh, that's right.
And I started the job at the same time, or at the beginning of the semester. Um, so I thought the job was going to be like nice and busy because I like to be busy. I don't like to have idle time. And at the beginning of the semester, everyone's putting in their book orders. So I was constantly in the back pulling out books, putting them into bags, labeling them, and then like checking out the people who came to pick up the books they ordered online. Um, and so like my first 2 weeks of that job was so busy, and then the rest of it, nothing fucking happened. I read an entire novel while doing that job because I always volunteered to shelve the books, but I never learned or I refused to learn. They did tell me that there was a system, like you could just look up the number and know exactly where to put it, but I never did that. I just like went by the numbers and one by one found it, and that was weaponized incompetence because I wanted the job to take me a very long time. And while doing that, I would like read a couple pages of a book, um, because there wasn't anything to do. There'd be like four of us working, and we'd be sitting there.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was an all right job. I lost most of my paychecks to paying my parking tickets that I got because there was nowhere to park in that fucking
Oh
city.
no.
Oh yeah.
I her name was we're naming names. The parking lady, her name was fucking Carla.
It was
Imagine
Carla.
imagine being the person that puts tickets on cars and being named Carla. Are you kidding me? This was meant to be from birth. I watched that lady. I was like running towards my car and I saw her. I saw her place a ticket on my window.
Oh
I was
my
so
gosh.
mad. I was so mad. I
She
wanted to
had
beat
no
the horn.
chill. No
She didn't.
chill.
No, she really didn't. It would
And
if oh,
and you
yeah.
had to like go into the little courthouse building to go pay your parking fee. And fortunately, it was right next to campus. I wonder why they did
Oh
that.
yeah.
Um, and I paid an absurd amount of parking tickets during college. In fact, it was the very last thing I did before graduating. Probably was paying a parking ticket.
Iconic.
But
And
yeah,
yeah.
it was a bad job. It paid literal minimum wage, 7.25 an hour, and I worked very little hours, and I paid very many parking tickets.
Did you say who
Bad
you
job.
were?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. I must have blacked out. I'm sorry.
You
Oh.
did. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's my bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Goodbye.
I must have early onset dementia today. Wow. What the hell's happening?
Just today,
We're
though.
all
Just
stressed
Just
with a
today.
little lemon zest.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh,
Oh,
a little play on words with my name.
right.
Oh my god, are you
Yeah.
flirting with me? What the heck? Oh my
oh my god.
god.
Oh
Anyway,
my gosh.
Ashley's always flirting with me, guys. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I did the Debbie Ryan. Y'all can't see me. I just realized. I
Oh my
forget.
gosh.
I forget you guys can't see me. Anyway,
Can you
uh,
even tuck your hair behind your ears yet?
Yes, you can.
Cassidy, have you not seen
It's
my
so
hair?
long.
I don't know what you look like.
What the fuck? Wow. I'm gonna shave my
Oh.
head just before you come, and then you'll never know.
You do the Debbie Ryan with your bald head, that would be actually be even better. I feel like it would be in fact very Debbie Ryan to do the Debbie Ryan without any hair, you know? And she'd be like, I just don't like having, just like this one time I decided I didn't like and like girls always have hair, and so I'm just not like that, and so I just shaved it all off, and now I'm on the Emmys, and I'm on the red carpet.
Oof.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly. No, exactly. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
seeing me
yeah.
today, Cass. I appreciate that.
See, I see you. I don't know what you look like, but I see you.
This is so funny because you literally came into my charity concert stream with my hair down.
Was it really?
Yeah,
I
Mhm.
was busy looking at your titties.
that's fair.
Oh my
Oh my god!
god.
Oh my god! In the words of Megan the Stallion, I'm getting flirted with by both my friends. It's cute because they're both hot. So they got me kicking, giggling my feet today. Giggling my
Wow.
feet? Who am I? Oh my! I gotta end stream actually.
I didn't hear
Oh.
giggling. I heard tickling. I thought they got me tickling my feet, and I was like, whatever. Okay, kinky, Kylie. That's all right. Tickle your own feet.
Oh my
You
gosh.
badass.
God. Jeez.
Woman who takes care of herself tickles her own feet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow.
actually, I do agree with that wholeheartedly.
You know. Anyway, welcome to book club.
Hey, yeah, welcome to book club, guys. Today we're gonna be reviewing On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. There we go.
Hmm.
This is the non-spoiler section. This is where we're going to give our overall thoughts and opinions, our rating out of 5 stars, the content or the weight of the book, and would we recommend this book and all its contents. Okay. Real quick, before we get into anything, literally anything, I'm going to say the trigger warnings for this book because there is an insane amount of trigger warnings.
Mhm.
I think Ashley joked and said it was the most trigger warnings we've had for a book club, and actually it's very true. They are pinned at the top of the chat. I'm going to read them out loud. If any of those bother you, please feel free to skedaddle along. It is not going to hurt our feelings in any sort of the
Mhm.
way if you have to leave. We'll catch you next time. So, content warnings for book club. I will read it both now and before we go into the spoiler section. Family trauma, child abuse, graphic sexual material, death, grief, mental health, child sexual abuse, homophobia, transphobia, arranged marriage, neglect, war, PTSD, bipolar, drug use, drug abuse, slurs, racism, and other related topics. Okay? So
It
if
is.
you're like, wow,
That is.
I'm not in a good headspace for that, it's okay. You can go.
Yeah.
You won't be ever.
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Jesus.
It's never the right time.
No.
Okay, I'm going to read a little synopsis on the back of the book and then we'll get into it.
Sweet.
So, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous is a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. Written when the speaker, Little Dog, is in his late 20s, the letter unearths a family history that began before he was born. A history whose epicenter is rooted in Vietnam. At once a witness to the fraught yet undeniable love between a single mother and her son, it is also a brutally honest exploration of race, class, masculinity, and our current American movement, immersed as we are in addiction, violence, and trauma. But girded, what the fuck is that word? Anyway, by compassion and tenderness. I can't read. The question of how to survive and how to make of it a kind of joy powers the most important debut novel of many years. Which is fucking insane that this is a debut novel. Want to state that. By
That
the
is
way,
crazy.
we've read 3 debut novels in a row.
Serious?
Yes, Remarkably Bright Creatures was a debut novel. Written in the Stars was a debut novel, and this was a debut novel.
We should
Huh.
all go write books.
We should.
I think we should all go write books. This is what it means.
Yeah.
We should do like How to Lose a Time War, where we all we
How to-
have it broken up in 3 parts and
Oh,
we
slay.
just roll with it.
book club.
Okay. Who wants to start us off?
I can start us off.
Go for it.
So,
Charlene.
okay, I am rating this book off of did I have a good time? I'm gonna so, okay.
Uh-huh. It's a
I
complicated
did
question.
not It's a complicated question. I did not have a good time.
Mm-mm.
Did I think so, okay, hold on. Then let me start with the flow, okay? So, at first, I was like, "Wow, this is very beautiful, very flowery, like, very poetic." By middle of part 2, I was like, "Okay, alright." But I don't think that's just my jam, you know? It's like, I think I also listened to this book, so I don't know if I just kinda, like the way the narrator, which it was actually the author, it was like it was very easy for me to kinda, like I figured out his rhythm, and then I would zone out a lot, and I'd have to go back and listen to some things, and it was kinda like, "Okay." I don't know, that's just me personally. So, I thought the flow was good, and then weight, obviously very heavy. Um, very heavy topics, also very heavy imagery and, like, metaphors too. Like, um he kinda tied everything about this book into a metaphor for something. Um, and sometimes it was really hard to follow, and then you're like, "Oh, okay." Um, so overall rating, I would say a 3, 'cause I do think he's a great writer, but it was just not, like, I can appreciate it, it was just not my jam. So, would I recommend this? Um, mm You definitely I would give a lot of trigger warnings, really. I'll be like, "It's I don't know." Yeah,
Hmm.
there you go. Sorry, whole lot of nothing. A whole lot
This
of word
this
salad.
is gonna be interesting, I think. Okay. Cass, do you wanna go or me?
I can go.
Okay, go for it.
Um, so yes, and it is heavy. It is heavy both emotionally and language wise. What Ashley said that it he uses a lot of metaphors. Um, in like a very like poetry kind of way, which I think the author is a published poet. And there were times this book is a novel, right? It's fiction, but there
Mhm,
were also times while reading it where I just found myself assuming this was like an autobiography because
mhm.
it's just sounded like this was the author's story since he's also a poet and a writer, and that's what Little Dog. Wait, that's spoiler. Um, I don't know. I just there were
Okay.
times where I thought this was an autobiography, which made it even more sad. Um, but I had to remind myself that it was fiction, and that made me like less upset about how florally and metaphory it was because I'm like, oh right, this is a novel. This is a work of fiction, and that's why the writing is like this. Um, because it is hard to read in like more
Mhm,
ways than one. It is hard to read because of the content, and it is hard to read because it like blurs the line between um what's what story the author is telling and what imagery the author is trying to create from that story, and it gets kind of confusing sometimes.
mhm.
um but yeah, in terms of weight, like 5 dumbbells all the way around.
Yeah.
um and flow kind of ties into like the weightiness of the language, because it doesn't really flow, you know, it's a letter to, and it's like a very disjointed letter. It's like he wrote in parts of his life, like he's like, okay, I want to tell her about this part of me, so part one of the book is about this part of me, part two of the book is about this part of me, part three of the book is about this version of me. And so it's like he's telling different parts of who he is, to his mom through stories, but they're not really chronological always,
Mhm,
and they bounce around. So the flow is very disjointed, but in a way that makes sense for the way that it's written. Um, but it was a little confusing sometimes. Um, at least I was lost sometimes. And then, um, would I recommend? Oh, overall rating. Overall rating. I'm trying to like separate. Ashley had said earlier, I think this was pre-book club, that like she picked it because it was recommended by a lot of um authors that she listens to, or not authors, readers, other readers that she listens to and stuff. Um, which same. Lots of like booktubers that I've watched, they
Mhm.
always in any of their like must read top tens, whatever, and like booktubers that I like really respect, um, all recommend this book. And so it had always been on my list for the longest time. And my mother is an English teacher and the biggest book snob there is. And every time we were at a bookstore, I'd always like point out that book and she'd be like, whatever. Um, that I was like, what do you mean? This seems like such a cavalier novel. And my book snob mother is like, meh. And now I know why. Um, but not meh. I think she probably just didn't want her 15-year-old daughter reading it, um, given the content. But anyway, so it had always been really high on my list, and I had like assumed it was just like really breathtaking novel. So I'm trying to separate my actual thoughts from like the elitism that I think this
Mhm.
book sits in. And so I think, yeah, I have to go with like three, 3.5 stars maybe, just in terms of my personal enjoyment and reflection of the book. Uh, yeah. And would I recommend it? No. I don't think I would give this book to somebody. I don't think I would like, because it's hard. It's hard to read. Like it hurts you.
Yeah.
You're not gonna feel good, and I don't know, it puts you in a funky headspace. It's like, I don't know if you guys have watched Euphoria. I tried watching it and it made me like so like stressed and depressed, lemon zest while watching it, um, that I couldn't keep watching it. And that's kind of what this book does.
Yes.
Um, and so I would not recommend it to a person, but I wouldn't tell them not to read it if they decided they wanted to, like have that
Mhm.
experience, but I wouldn't put it in somebody's hands intentionally.
Hmm, okay.
Well said. I agree. That's what yeah.
Hmm. All right.
But if
Well,
somebody came, but if somebody like had it in their hands already and was, all right, I'll be here.
Yeah. Here if you need me.
wow. Okay. So I experienced this book very differently than you two. And I don't know
Hmm.
if this was because I was so for context. Personally, I've been going through it. Um, so I was very at the beginning of this book very apathetic, and very like I don't want to fucking. Well, that's not true. I had already started the book, and then I ended up just restarting it and reading it all the way through in one day because I had to get through it. Because it is sad, but um, well, let me go through my thoughts real quick. So weight of this book obviously extremely heavy. The writing, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't thinking I really love poetry in general. Like I read poetry books. So the writing for me was really just it was amazing for me. Like I really just enjoyed reading that type of writing. And then the way that he wrote it, how it was disjointed makes sense because he kept talking about and this is light spoiler. Light spoiler. He kept talking about like memories and
Mhm.
to me, when I'm someone who I struggle with false memories. Um, and when I'm truly trying to remember something, I am very, very scattered. And I think a lot of people are very scattered, but in the way of like, to me, this feels like how I would remember something, which was in not a straight line. how you would jump timelines, be like, and now I'm here, and now I'm here, and now I'm here.
Mhm.
So that to me felt really authentic. And to like talk about what you guys were saying about how like whether it was real or not, I feel like it's very on par with Grave of the Fireflies. And so Grave of the Fireflies, for those who do not know, it was made by Miyazaki. He's the head animator of Studio Ghibli, and it is actually about his actual life. Um, it's very, very sad. It is not necessarily his story, but it is about things that he experienced, and I think that that is what I got from this book of, like, it might not have necessarily been exactly this story, but it is from things he experienced, and I do think
Mhm.
he did experience everything from this book, but I think he put it in a way that was more tangible and separated himself slightly from it. But what I always
Mm.
say with like Grave of the Fireflies is, and I'm kind of jumping around to my questions, but whenever I recommend people to watch Grave of the Fireflies, I always say it is not a fun watch, but it is a necessary watch. Like you watch it once and then you don't watch it again,
Mm.
but you think on it and you sit in the discomfort and you sit in the sadness because people did experience that. That is something that people live with every day. And,
Mhm.
people lost their lives in that. And I'm trying not to spoil Grave of the Fireflies now as well, but like it's kind of like a learning thing. And Ashley,
Mhm.
you said a comment earlier, not here, but when we were kind of talking off the cuff about it earlier, um, about how you felt like it was really good perspective taking. And I think that this
Yeah.
is such a master class of perspective taking because it just kind of hits you in the face about it. And it's from his perspective, but feel him put himself in actually four different perspectives throughout the book,
Mhm.
which I really liked. And I just think it was so would I recommend this book? Yes, with the caveat of I need to know who I'm recommending it to. I'm not going to recommend this to certain people because I know that they are people who would not benefit from this book. But I do think there would be people in my life who would benefit from this book and who would be able to read it. Um,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So I think I would have to have discernment when recommending. And also just like being like, hey, just so you know, there's a lot of trigger warnings for this book, of course. Um, but and then a weight. I already talked about that. Very heavy all the way around. Agree with that. And then my rating, I was not expecting to give this rating,
Mm.
but I'm gonna give it 5 stars very
Oh
genuinely.
my goodness.
I know, very genuinely, I'm giving it five
I'm just
stars.
teasing you.
Who saw this coming? No one. No one saw it coming. It's a surprise. Only because I think I also very much related to the story in some way, and I know personally people who have been through a lot of these same things, and it just felt like a very tangible, relatable story for me and for people I know who would read it and who would also relate to that. Um yeah, I just thought it was really beautifully written. I've never heard of this book before. So I guess for me, it didn't have that air of like, what did you say, Cass?
I feel like it exists in a like in book elitist
Yeah.
area.
Okay, okay, yeah. So I did not have that context going in. I did not know that until you said that just now, actually. Uh, I've never heard of this book.
Yeah.
So I don't read a lot of like. I guess this would be considered a classic. Is that true? Would you say?
It's it won a lot of awards. Like I think it won a lot of awards when it came out.
Mm, okay.
But it's up there with those like it's probably not it's most definitely not like Oprah Book Club award. It's like prestigious book award that
Mm.
gives it that like level of I don't know,
Mm,
fancy book people.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people who are reading it for that, fuck you. Fuck you.
Indeed.
Just straight up fuck you. Like this person went through a lot, and the fact that you want to
Mhm.
use that for your own snobby reasons, you're a shitty person. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about that. Anyway, okay. Um, any other thoughts before we jump into spoilers?
Nah.
Mm-mm. We're ready. Let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to read out the trigger warning one more time because I think it's necessary.
Mhm.
I think it's quite necessary. We are going into the spoiler section of this book. If you have not read the book, but you want to have a bad time? Question mark. You want to have a good but bad time? I don't know.
Hmm.
A mixed feeling time? Of conflicted time, and you want to pick this book up, please go do so. Um, yeah, we're gonna spoil it right now. Trigger warnings again are family trauma, child abuse, graphic sexual material, death, grief, mental health, child sexual abuse, homophobia, transphobia, arranged marriage, neglect, war, PTSD, bipolar, drug use, drug abuse, slurs, racism, and other related topics. Please feel free to leave because we are going to we'll talk about them now in detail. And there's really no
Yes.
way to get around literally any of that.
No.
Sometimes we can kind of skirt around stuff, but today is not going to be one of those days. So feel free to skedaddle. Okay, Ash, the floor is yours. It was your pick. Here we go.
All right. So, um, first question. We kind of talked about this in the non-spoiler section, so this can kind of be like the little ease us into the conversation. So yeah, how did this novel present itself to you? Because right, it's like it's there were times where it felt like it was written like a poem, but written like a memoir. Like I feel like too, I had to remind myself that oh, this is not an autobiography or a memoir. It's fiction. And then remember like, oh yeah, this is a letter to someone. Like and also I feel like too there were times where I felt like this was like a confession. Like, you know, I don't know. That's how I feel. So how do y'all like what did you guys feel the same? Was there a different perspective you guys got? Like I felt like this did not fit. It kind of branched beyond a novel to me.
For sure. Like it's not telling a story in the way that
Mhm.
most books do, which I think is kind of fun. Uh, but definitely poetry. There's that whole section after what's his name? What's the
Trevor?
tobacco field guy? Trevor. After Trevor's death,
Mhm.
there's like that entire part that he writes in poetry, like as poetry, like he writes it um like it's metered that way, and in the book it's like structured that way of like I don't have the book on me, right? Pull it up, but um I don't know, it's just written the way a poem would be written, and I think when he's telling these stories or these memories to his his mother, um, who's never going to read it, um, he sometimes slips into like a
Mhm.
sort of meter, a sort of scheme, um, which may like it's probably just his way of processing, like the whole thing. Like he's writing this letter to his mother, who's never going to read this, which means the stuff that he put into it, he's not scared of her learning about him, I guess. Um, so it's like a confession for himself to like get stuff off his chest, and it's like his way of processing. And since the person in this book, and also maybe the author, um, is a writer, especially if of poetry, um, that's just the way that it came out, like anybody who processes through creative mediums gets that. Like sometimes it comes out through your painting or through a song um or through like writing in your journal. Like, it comes out in a way that wouldn't come out if you were talking to somebody about it.
Mhm.
Um, and sometimes it's like very dramatic. Sometimes it's very poetic like this. So that's kind of how it seemed to me of like it slipped into that sometimes and sometimes intentionally and sometimes just like because that's who this person is. That's how he processes and reflects.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. I think that was really just wonderfully said.
Mhm.
I definitely did not really read it as a novel. Probably after like the
No.
first, like maybe like even 15 pages or something like that.
Mhm.
I
Um,
feel like I had to like give up on that notion of it being a novel in order to actually understand what was happening.
and I also think you lose a lot of it if you just read it straight like a novel. I don't think it
Yeah.
reads as well, in my opinion.
No, no. No, no, no.
That's all I have
Yeah.
to say about that. Kat said it so nicely. I feel like I don't have
Agreed.
anything else to say about it.
No, you have to
Yeah.
like come to it very open-minded, which I think I like wasn't prepared for what it was going to be at first. And so then once that it was like, "Oh, okay. I see what's going on here." And you have to just be like, "Okay, I'm not reading a story."
Yeah.
And then it I don't know. Then you get more into it.
Mhm.
Mm,
I listened to this book. I mentioned it before, but I
Mhm.
realized very quickly because the author, I listened to the version where the author narrates, and it was definitely times where you could tell he's telling a story and then it turns into a like someone reciting a poem, basically. Like he gets into a rhythm and it's like, "Oh." But
mm.
there were times though where it was kind of like he would go in and out of it very quickly to where I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if what we're talking about is a memory or not. Like, because there are sometimes too, it's like, is this a memory or is this like what you're in the poem that you wish you could speak to them? Like, I don't, there were sometimes I struggled with like, okay, was this an actual memory that this character experienced or is this them being poetic, being like, "Ma, this is me telling you," you know, like, or "This is Lon speaking to you," you know, I got there were times that I would get lost and I would have to, like, re-listen, but, um,
Huh.
yeah,
Like,
anyway.
wait, I'm curious. Like, what part was? I'm so curious what part it was. That it was
It
like,
would happen, like I can't think of a specific example, but it would be something like oh, like, there was one where, just the way he would write, and then also it's hard to explain, like, how he was talking
mm,
when he was narrating, but there were times, like, he would do certain pauses or things like that, and, like, he was describing his mom sitting in the kitchen, but he was narrating it like he was talking about a memory, and then he's like, "And then her head fell off," and I was like, "Oh," and he's like, "But really it just sunk, like, she looked down," and I was like, "Oh," and then she's like, "And it wasn't actually a cigarette, it was a moth," and I was like, "Alright, hold on. Are we
okay,
being
okay.
Yeah,
poetic?"
it
I see
was
what you're saying. I see what you're
yes,
saying. Okay.
Yeah,
his
and so it's
imagery was
like
sometimes
but there were other times where he's being very obvious and he's, like, has a rhythm, very poetic, things like that, and then there was times where he wasn't in a rhythm and he would yeah, so there's just
Mm.
I'm also in the car, I'm, like, listening, and I'm like, "Hold on, hold on,
I
hold
don't
on,
know how you
wait."
did that in the car. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'd be
so
so confused.
yeah, but it was, so that's probably my own fault, and this is probably why I have these
No,
views about
cause
this book, but
I see what you're saying because, like, that's literally because as soon as you said that, I think we're saying the same thing. I think it's different also because you were in the car. I don't know how you did that. That's, like, so impressive, first of all.
yeah, the
Second of
gym in the
all
car.
second of all that's so impressive. Second of all, that's where I was talking about earlier about false memories. Thank you, because that's what I was going to
Mhm,
talk about. Was that there's, like, a lot of instances of, like, the false memories of childhood, and a lot of that has to do with, like, because he is diagnosed with bipolar, and people who have bipolar sometimes will fall into that, like, false memory mindset a lot of times.
Mhm.
Especially if we don't know his other diagnosis. I mean, he could have BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, or OCD, or something along the lines. A lot of things like overlap. And so I'm curious if he, like, if that's literally, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know the answer to your question.
Mhm.
But I am curious if he's trying to mimic that, kind of like that falsified memory of, like, he can't quite remember clearly, and so he's trying to mirror that, or if it's actually he's trying to be poetic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or if he's trying to do
Yeah.
both. I don't know, but, like, that is such a good point, and that was, like, one thing that I was gonna see what you guys thought about, but
Mhm. Sometimes too, I wonder, like, and I wanna talk more about Lan later, because I'm a little jumping ahead, but she was kinda my favorite. But, um, I wonder too if it's like he, throughout his childhood, has really kinda clung to Lan, his grandma, and she has schizophrenia, and so it's like she kinda jumped from, like, she almost at like, at a drop of a hat would be in La La Land and then be like, "Oh, I'm here." And it's like, I wonder, and she also protected him, so it's like, I wonder sometimes too if he's, like, emulating her, being like, "Okay," like, speaking from, like, a child's point of view, like, "Okay, to protect myself, I'm gonna pretend, or I'm going to imagine certain things like grandma does."
mm, that's a good
I
point
don't know.
too.
That's a big stretch, but it's like, well, you're around your mom who has PTSD and trauma and also delusions, and then you have your grandma who's like,
Yeah, she also has his mom also has schizophrenia, I'm pretty sure.
But
yeah, and
he never
but
rejects like her
mm-mm,
stories or like the reality she's
no,
living in. He never fully rejects it.
Mm-mm.
yeah,
Which is maybe like empathy, and the perspective
hmm,
thing, like he understands where she is mentally, even if he's not there.
yeah, and I think it's very interesting too that like Lon, she's in her delusions, but I feel like more times than not, she is still in reality, but like also in her delusion at the same time. Like, she'll be like, she'll say things. I'm trying to think of something where she's there and in the moment, but she'll be like, but she's also stuck in the past. So she'll say things like, get back in the helicopter. We're
Mm.
going to be fine. We're going to be back in this place. And it's like he almost is like, oh, I'm translate. Like she knows what's going on. She just can't say it.
She's
She
just
can
like
only
telling
say
it
it from
through this
in this
story,
time space she's in right now. That makes
which
sense.
Yes.
yeah. And for context, um, this is a Vietnamese family who
Oh,
fled the
yes.
Vietnam War. Um, and so his mom and his grandma were both like their entire life was during the war. And he was a child when they fled. And so much of what's going on with their mental health is like PTSD from the like literal hellscape they were living in,
Hmm.
and generally generationally, um he's impacted by that.
And
Hmm.
I want to speak on the schizophrenia really quick, because so I work with people who are schizophrenic every day, pretty much. And what's very interesting is something that there's not a lot of research about it, but a pattern we have seen in psychology is people who develop schizophrenia in America, for instance, and really only America, have very scary and violent delusions.
Mm.
Most people in other parts of the world do not,
Hmm.
which is very interesting. And what I would like to say about that is that's you can really tell a difference between Lon and his mom. Lon developed
Mhm.
her schizophrenia Vietnam before the war, before America had come into play here, before the war, and her delusions are very like they are still kind of centered in the war as she's gotten older, but they are more rescuing and they are
Mhm.
safety and get out of there, you're gonna get hurt, right? Whereas
Mhm.
his mom is very violent towards him. And she
Mhm.
probably developed her schizophrenia literally probably during the war, which is
Yeah.
very interesting because women develop schizophrenia in their later 20s. Um, Mid to late 20s is when they develop schizophrenia. So I think that's just very interesting. And then she also like went to America, right? While she was still probably in
Mhm.
the depths of like either about to have her diagnosis or whatever. And not to mention, she probably didn't seek help for that, whatever. Which is just I just think that's a very interesting point to bring up and how kind of accurate that is. I just thought I don't know if he did research or if he actually does have family with schizophrenia, but I was like, that is so kind of on the nose
Mhm.
accurate. So I just thought that was really cool detail. That's all I had to say about it.
Mhm.
I also wanted to say, which this is kind of boiling into my second question. Talking so hold on, I'll say my little thing real quick. But I thought it was interesting how like his mom was so violent when and it's like what was I trying to say? Um I'm losing it. But it was something like I just thought it was interesting that it's like the cycle of trauma and abuse and things happened before Lon. Like there's like generational trauma probably past way past Lon, right? But it's like it didn't I feel like I just thought it was interesting the violence started with um his mom. But I know too that she was in a very violent relationship with with his father. And so I don't know, it's just like like
Yeah.
I
Uh,
think it's interesting all the pieces in play and it's like yeah.
and honestly, that's kind of part of what I related to. Not to be like too much in my business, but my grandma on my maternal side was a very violent person. She just was. She was extremely violent. But towards me, she was never violent. Never.
Mhm.
Never ever, right? My mom, another violent person, right?
Mhm.
Um, and them two together it was very similar to how their relationship was of like you can feel that they're strained but they are still together as a family because as Lon put it, you're all she has, blah blah blah, I'm all she has,
Mhm.
right? So it's and my mom was a single mom, and it's just very like it's very very interesting about like maternal generational trauma, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't like this is this play about us? That's how I felt. I was like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck?" But yeah, so it's like, I think that's a great point of like and I think that's an answer that we just can't provide because again,
Yeah, it's a
it's
piece
so
that's
hard.
missing.
It's so hard. And that's
Mhm.
a piece that'll always be missing because like even like for me, I don't know why in my family they are like this with their own stuff, right? And it's I'll never know because I'm not them. And I think that's part of it, but also it sucks.
Mhm.
But choose your favorite
Yeah.
character. I just want to circle back to that.
Lan, yeah. Because she like, cause right, she's well, so she's all of these characters are very complicated, like, all of
Mhm.
them. Lan included. She's very complicated because she like you said, she's the rescuer, Kinda like she always which also very interesting, like, where the timelines are blurred because we talk about Paul, who is Lan's husband,
Mm.
but outside of Vietnam, it's not like where they met, it's not very clear because Lon lives with them, but Paul.
Is her ex-husband.
Oh, okay. So they're ex. Okay, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I must have missed that in the
It
poetry.
was
This is what I'm
very
talking
yeah,
about.
it was very, like, very quick, where
Okay,
basically
I
he
missed it.
was Paul, like, during when Lon passed away. When Lon passed away, he, like, starts crying and then, like, poetry starts happening, I guess, and he, like it starts, like, talking about he starts talking about how he had, like, moved back to Virginia. He moved back to
Mhm.
Virginia to take care of his mom, but his mom lied about that, like, getting sick because she wanted him
Oh.
out of the war. Like, she wanted him to be out of the war, so he ran
Oh.
away back to Virginia to take care of her, and then he was just there, and he's like, "Well, I don't wanna go back to war," basically. And, then Pixie, Jesus Christ. Sorry. Oh my god.
Pixie.
So annoying. Anyway, um, but then, after after the war, like, she went looking for him, like, they left America. She went looking for him, but he was already, like, remarried and stuff. Yeah.
Where okay, okay, so that gives a little context with when he went to visit Paul when he was 10, but
Mhm.
Lon didn't go with him. I was like, "I'm very
Which
confused."
is why his mom is very much like, "That's not your grandfather."
Not your grandpa.
Yep.
Okay.
Because he basically
Oh,
abandoned them in a
okay.
way. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's okay. Very okay, thank you. Because I was like,
Mhm.
"What?" Um, but yes, so she's very back to Lon.
Yeah.
Um, so right, she protects little dog, but at the same time, so this is where okay, so now I can say this, but she lives with him, but there were still times where his mom abuses him and Lon isn't mentioned. And it's like, was she there and didn't do something? Was she not there? Was this a time where she wasn't living with them? So and then there's times where she defends his mom. So it's like, okay, we're enabling this behavior. Like, it's very complicated. It's like
Mhm.
she's always a loving figure and sometimes a rescuer, but at the same time she enables his mom's delusions kind of. Like
Yep.
I wouldn't say enable. It's hard. I feel like enable is not the right word, but she definitely doesn't like. She's like, you still, like you said, you still have to love her. You know, it's like,
Mhm. She enables the abuse. I mean, she does.
yes,
She does.
yes,
Because she does have moments of clarity, and in those moments
mm-hmm,
of clarity, she is aware that abuse is happening,
mm-hmm,
and she doesn't do anything. Yeah.
right. So it's hard, and it's like,
But also, why would she? She lives under his mom's roof. She
mm-hmm,
takes care of her. She's old. Where is she going to go?
it's true.
You know? So it's like it's a very complex family dynamic for sure.
Yeah. I also think too, like, I just thought like Lon's stories were like the part one to me was the best part of this book for me.
Mm.
Like, I really enjoyed part one, like just knowing, learning that I really enjoy learning different perspectives of history. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, this was a perspective I never really dove into. You know, because it's like you hear about the Vietnam War in school, or you probably watch Forrest Gump and he's just running around. And you're like, okay, the Vietnam War was horrible. And you, from an American's point of view, you hear about how terrible the soldiers were treated and all this stuff. And you're always like, oh, it's just an awful war. And then you hear the other side of like, oh, how horrible the American soldiers were. And you're like, oh, yes, okay. Like, um, it's just a perspective I was very interested in. And I was like, oh, I want to know more. And it was just kind of like, right, this woman just surviving. She's like, I'm not going to be married off to this creepy old man. I'm going to make my way in this broken world. I was rooting for her, all I'm trying to say.
No, I agree with that. The like, I don't know, I just appreciated the perspective it gives the reader,
Mhm.
knowing that yes, this is the author's fictional interpretation of his experiences, but and just like the little things, because they also talk about like Lon's love story, um, with her American soldier and just like the day-to-day goings of it. I had I had read this book called The Women. It's like Kristen Hanna or something. Not a fan. Um,
Oh.
it's all about the Vietnam War, but it's about the female nurses during the war.
Oh, right.
Um, and it's just not great. um, again, it gives you like it gave me a lot of empathy because
Mhm.
we're all like, oh, the fucking Vietnam War, like what a what a stupid war for us to have fought, something that never needed to happen, um, and how many people were affected by it. And what I did appreciate about that book was that it made you have empathy for the people who like enlisted in the war because they came back and were like treated horribly when
Mhm.
they signed up for good reasons that they didn't know until they were in it what a shit show everything was because
Yeah.
our leaders were lying about it. um but to have like the complete so I appreciated that about the book. Everything else about it is like it's the over glorified war stories that
Mm.
I just don't enjoy. um so I liked this perspective
Yeah.
on it
It's like
from this author.
mhm.
Mhm. You were saying? Sorry.
Sorry. I was I was gonna say it's like the raw, like, this is what it was. This is how it, like, day to day was, or, like, this is, like, the where Lon is trying to, like, hand signal to these American soldiers to not shoot her as she's holding Rose in her hand, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like
And it's not even like this is a war story, you know?
mhm.
This is just a story that like it was their story was influenced by the war, so in order to talk about what's happening, what he actually wants to
Mhm.
talk about, he has to like give the background
Mhm.
information. So it's like it's not even a book that's meant to be entirely about the war. It's just
Mhm.
you learn about it because of who they are now, uh, which is just like a cool, like it's almost entirely. Oh, I think it is. It's like only backstory, um,
Mhm.
which is just neat because in a
Mhm.
way, like he describes it so just like mundanely, like yeah, when this happened, and you're like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
Like when it's like a dad lore drop, you know?
Like
Yes.
it's like yeah, when we were at the um what are they had like essentially drag shows. That was when they just moved to America though, or was that no, that was still in Vietnam, that they would have
Mhm.
like drag shows for morale every evening. And I'm like, I love
Mhm.
that. Why don't I want a drag show for
I
my morale
also
every
want a
evening?
drag show.
Right? Yeah. It's
But
like
yeah,
I
he
almost
just described it so mundanely, like yeah, in my childhood when you were like carrying me away from a war-torn country. Oh yeah.
Right, right, right.
Okay.
yeah. I liked yeah. I appreciated the lore. I honestly like part 1 really hooked me and I was like, "Ah." Like I honestly could I'm curious with his other book cuz it's similar. Well, I don't know. But it's another book about kind of generational I'm a s- anyway. I think it's around the same kind of thing where it's talking about like um relationships with mothers and things like that. Um he has a like, I think it came out, like, a year or 2 ago, but I don't know. This book kind of really threw me in for a loop, so maybe I should take a break before I try to jump into another one. But, um, I just thought her character was so interesting and very, like, I wanted to know more about her life, and I also really wanted about his mom's life. Like, we really got a lot of lore about Lon, but we didn't really get a lot about his mom, but I feel like
You don't think so?
that kind of I think we did, but, like Cass said, it was kind of like Lon stuff was like drop of a hat, like, "Okay, pick the gray hairs out of my head so I can be young, and let me tell you about this time where we were bombed," and we're like, "Okay." And then I think his mom, you hear about her story when it's like she's having these flashbacks of, like, you know what I mean? Like, she's having, like, these episodes, and I think towards the end he kinda, but I don't think it's coming from her,
But I think
if that makes
also
sense.
part of it is part of his mom's story is ingrained in him. So all of
Mhm.
these childhood flashbacks is essentially also his mom's story, I guess, because she does also do lore drops, I think. Like when she was beaten and all that and like it's like very
Yeah.
fast. It's very fast. I do agree with you that I think we could have gotten a little bit more of like a chunk at a time instead of like
Mhm.
fast, but I don't know. I was a big mom and grandma hater, to be honest. So I was a big mom and grandma hater. So I was honestly like, I just want to hear about you. Not a fan, but
Yeah,
that's a me
Like,
problem. I'm projecting.
Mom was such a hard character to
she was
navigate.
very
Like,
hard.
she's like, you want to be mad at her. I don't know. You want to be mad at her and you want to love them. Uh,
Yeah.
'Cause it's like he would talk about the abuse he received from his mother, and you're like, holy shit, like that's unforgivable. That's traumatizing. Yet I mean, he's still so bound to him. Like they still have this mother son. Like they still seem to have a decent relationship despite all of that. Um, and I don't know. It's like he for even while it's happening, he forgives her for it because he knows why she's doing it, which is just
Mhm.
crazy to have like that maturity as a child. Uh, but I don't know, like, cause I don't, she does such horrible things, but at the same time, she has these actions, just the way that she carries out her life that are just all for the protection of
Mhm.
her child. And because that's all she can do, like that was her entire reason, like the entire reason that they're there was her seeking to protect him. And so she's like not able to do anything but have that, like, I don't know, it's like the thing where as a kid you're like, you're so mean, my parents,
Mhm.
but when you get older you have some perspective on it, on like, okay, I see where this came from. I see where, like, this story that I have in my head of my parent being so mean to me, like, because now like being, not that being like a parent age, there are people our age who have children, which is crazy. um but like being near the age that like my parents were as when we were young children, oh yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm stressed all the time. So being like, yeah, my parents were stressed. um and it doesn't like forgive actions, but at the same time you're like, I get it. And it all comes from like a protection
Mhm.
for your child, like just this animal instinct to make sure your offspring lives. But because of what she's experienced, she's like unable to do anything past that, like the things that you
Right.
actually need from a parent, like nurturing, like you need you need them to listen to your feelings and validate. She's not able to give any of that to him. But it's like he knows it. and
Mhm.
he's okay with it in a way. It's so strange. Like ugh, she's such a conflicting character.
Yeah. I feel like for her and Lon both, like, where, like, people will say, like, "You love to hate them," but it's like, I
Mhm.
felt the opposite where it's like, I hate to love them. It's like, because it's like there's times where they'll do something and I'm like, why would," but then he would tell a story of something that they went through and you're kinda like, "Dang." But also, I feel like, again, this is from I not having those kind of experiences, so it's like I feel a little separated from that, but it was kinda like, "Oh, man," like, I couldn't even imagine going through something like that, and it's like, right, that just speaks on little dog's kind of like, "Yep," and, like, he kind of like, right, his maturity of being like, "Yeah, this is just what they went through. Like, this is
Yeah.
just who they are, like, they're
And like
broken."
even his name, his little nickname, Little Dog, when he told the story of it, of like, um, they they give like the weak, the runt child offspring, they give it this like very unseeming, demeaning nickname so that the demons won't try to get them. So like
Mhm.
even his nickname that makes him sound like so puny was like meant in a protective manner.
Right. Sorry, I keep yawning, but
Um, sorry. Wow. I literally just started crying. It's fine. No, no, no. I'm fine. But if it sounds like terrible, that's why. Um, because this book, I just blah 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 blah. It's
Mm.
fine.
You
Um,
got this.
but it's something that I personally struggle with is like having empathy for someone who did terrible things to you, and having understanding doesn't mean that you forgive them. And to me, I felt that so much through this book of like him wanting to forgive his. This is also something I've been struggling with recently. So like, it's fine. Um, so it's just really on my brain. This is why I had to read this book all in one day because I wasn't gonna make it. But it's like,
To fucking take it like a shot.
yeah, basically.
yeah.
um, but it's kind of like you experience all these horrible things and you still want to forgive this person, and it's like such a crazy unimaginable ache inside of you. I can't even like describe it. And maybe you guys have felt this in a different way. um but for me it's towards my mom, which is why I bring this up. If like I want her to love me so deeply, but I know she never will do that. You know what I mean? I have to, it's like this kind of like weird acceptance that I have to like accept. I have to accept that. And to me, that's what this book felt like. It felt like him trying to accept and trying to find the words. And that's why everything's so scrambled. And that's why everything is so crazy,
Yeah.
is because he's trying to find this part of him that wants to forgive her for everything. Um, and he's trying to find it. And that's how I felt. That's how I feel in real life, and that's how I felt reading the book. Um, and that's how I felt also with Trevor. We haven't even talked about Trevor, Jesus
Oh
Christ.
my
Oh,
god.
I know.
Um, but just like the metaphors between like Trevor and his mom and like how he accepts love, and I just it hurts my feelings. I'm definitely crying. It's fine. But also I'm so glad no one can fucking see me. Jesus Christ, we're never doing an in-person book club. Um, Jesus Christ.
For
But
sure.
it's just yeah. I have nothing else to say about it. That's all. All the thoughts went
Okay.
away.
I just
No.
I cannot believe we've not talked about Trevor
Oh,
yet.
Jesus
I
Christ.
know.
Good lord, because
That's
that's like a whole
I
there's
think
so
when he
much. There's so much to unpack there with Trevor.
Well, I don't even know
yeah,
where we're gonna start with that one. Jesus.
yeah, that's when he came into play is when I really took a lot of breaks for this book. For me, personally. I was like,
Oh man,
"Okay,
because like
wow, and this is getting deeper and deeper and
right?
and now I'm gonna pause it. Okay." I'm
like
gonna
his
stare out the window.
adolescence and the growing pains through all of that, and like what you said, Kylie, of like the way that he accepts love, like the way, because so Trevor is comes to be his best friend slash lover, but in like a really weird dynamic kind of way. Um, and there's this is where the like explicit sexual content comes into play.
Yeah.
Trigger warning.
Mhm.
Um, there are many sex scenes between the two, and they're quite graphic and like in at times like I felt like borderline abusive, like
Mhm.
never in a non-consensual way, but in a way that just makes your heart break for little
Mhm.
dog because you're like because
Yeah.
that's what you don't they don't tell. Oh, this was like beautiful example of like show don't tell. Like they don't say, oh, he can only accept love through abusive means. Like he only knows accepted um
Mhm.
and noticed when he's being hurt. They don't tell you that, but they show you that through his relationship with Trevor, and that like Trevor is such like a whirlwind of like I love you, but I'm also abusive towards you. And you're like, "Mom?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
mommy?" And his whole relationship with Trevor is just so
And the abuse is
complicated.
overt. It's overt
Yes,
too. It's not
right?
outspoken. Ugh. Yeah. God. It just like fucking broke me. Cause it's like, again, it's that
And he's
trying.
like,
Ah! Go ahead.
like over and over again, he's so hurt by Trevor, but in a way that like he doesn't want to admit or doesn't want to like make a big deal out of. It's it's just such little things that you see in his character that just like breaks him down, but he's never going to like view it as being a problem. He just thinks that
Right.
that's how people who love him treat him, and it's it hurts so bad. But like eventually I think he starts to realize it. Um and like we get this whole I mean basically the entire part of his it's so funny when oh, actually I don't know, this is kind of interesting. I'm feeling like enlightened. Um but that because this letter is born from his mother asking him like how did you become a writer? Um and he doesn't talk about school. Like he goes off to New York and goes to school and studies literature. Um and he doesn't none of that comes up because that wasn't important to how it's everything before that. So like we learn all of these stories about him uh from fleeing Vietnam to his childhood and racism and Trevor and relationships uh and then they're like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, then when I was in and came back." And you're like, "Oh, okay, cool. So
Oh.
school done." Um but when he's coming back from that after Trevor's death, uh like that's when he writes this big like poem essentially about how Trevor is everything in his life, like everything he knows, the way that he views the world is all through a lens of Trevor. But and it's like but he has like this outside perspective on it in a way that like he's not currently idolizing Trevor. He just knows that his entire life up until like who he is now has been through Trevor. And it's
Mhm.
so strange.
Yeah. I think something that really like was hard. I just kind of also realized this too. Like, sorry, I'm trying to process.
I know.
Um,
That's why I'm doing. That's why I said twice because I was like, oh god. I was like so nicely worded, and I'm trying to think of a response.
know too. I was like, huh.
Wow.
Um, yeah. It was I think it was this book was really devastating, and then I think when it got to Trevor's part, it was just even like, I feel like it was Trevor was almost like, "This is going to either make or break him." Like, Trevor is either gonna break Little Dog or Little Dog is gonna overcome him, you know, because it's like it right, like, Trevor is, like, the mirror of his mom, and that was something that was, like, why I had to kind of really be like, "I need to" like, it was really
And it's so hard
yeah.
because Trevor is also a child, like when we first meet him.
Yes.
And it's
Mhm.
so and that is a character that I love to hate and hate to love. I had very mixed
Mhm.
feelings about Trevor because I'm like, you're a kid, but yet you are making all these decisions. But then you look at like, okay, well, why is he making these decisions? His dad's a drunk and
Mhm.
abusive, and he doesn't have a mom that cares about him and ran off with her boyfriend, and like, and he got hooked on oxy because the doctor prescribed him oxy when he was 10. And it's
Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
all of these things that have accumulated into who this person is. Of course he's going to be a wreck. Of course he doesn't know how to accept people. Of course he's going to say derogatory things and have terrible relationships. Of course he's going to do that because why wouldn't he? When we like the world and his whole entire life set him up to be unsuccessful. Like
Mhm.
there's just I've it's crazy because I see so many Trevors daily, and it pisses me off because I'm like, why? There's so many choices that could have prevented this from happening, right? There's so many things that could have prevented, and Trevor could have lived a long life and not died from an overdose. And not and then it talks about like all his friends dying from overdoses, and of course they are because of course because of our whole entire system. And then it just makes me angry all over again because of course, we look at this person, oh yeah, they use meth. Why did they use meth? Because they have delusions and voices and they can't get their meds. Oh, why does this person drink 1.75 liters a day? Because they are grappling with their own grief and they can't afford their bills, and so they think they'd rather die. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm getting heated because this is like, I'm very passionate about this, and it just makes
Yeah.
me so upset because he died for no fucking reason, because no one gave a shit about this person except for Little Dog. But then you look at Little Dog, and Little Dog is barely over the water as well. So you have two drowning kids trying to save each other without a life raft, and they don't know how to swim.
Mhm.
And it's like, which one is going to be able to grab a life preserver first? And that's it.
Yeah.
And Little
That's
Dog made
very well
it.
said.
Oh, thank you. Little Dog made it, and Trevor did not. And he sunk and he drowned and he died. And he died never truly know. I mean, he didn't accept who he was. He died never knowing who he was. He couldn't even accept that he loved a boy. I mean, he couldn't even accept
Mhm.
that he was addicted to drugs. And I'm so upset by everything. I just want him to be happy.
Yeah. Those parts really made me sad too when it was just like they would be just like he would just apologize to the little dog. He'd be like, "I'm sorry. I don't want to be," or he would say like, "It's just too gay," or something like that. And it's just like little dog will want to be upset, but then again, like same like how he does with his mom, he's like, "Okay, I understand you. Like I'm not going to blow up on you, or I'm not going to, like."
Yeah,
Yeah, that
because
part was just so sad.
it was
I was like,
the part that he finally was like, okay, you can top me, right? And
"Mhm."
he goes to start to top him, and he like he suddenly like stops and turns around and goes, I can't do that because I'm not a little bitch, unlike you, right, little dog?
Mhm.
And sorry, that really stuck with me. I guess I memorized the fucking book. But anyway, so it's like that part, I was like, fuck. And then the other, but then it's like you have that, but then he also has like this genuine caring to him and like
Right.
tenderness, especially with like the poop. Like that was the most tender, caring, like not the beginning part, but like when the poop happened, not the beginning part.
Right.
But when the poop happened, the beginning part was a little rough. I was like, no, I don't like it.
I know, I was like, "Stop,
I
stop."
don't like it. But then, okay, so like,
Yeah.
yeah, so they have sex. That he poops on his penis a little bit, and then instead of like, it's so interesting because he's like, I know who Trevor is. He's gonna blow up on me. Like he's gonna scream. He's gonna hit me, and he like braces himself to get hit, and then it doesn't come, and Trevor's very gentle, and he's like, okay, we're going to go to the river. We're gonna clean up, and he not only like
Mhm.
cleans, like tells him to clean up, and like little dog's still like very like ashamed of himself and like very inside of himself and like embarrassed, rightfully so, because of the whole soiling himself with his mom and that whole thing, right? We can
Right.
talk about that in a second, but
Ah.
um but it's like also he not only like cleaned him but also like did like a gesture that was very intimate towards them, put his hand under his chin to try and cheer him up. And then when that didn't work, he did he gave a sexual act to him, which was like the first sexual act we've seen him give him, pretty much. Like out of just truly wanting to give him something instead of like in reciprocation. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
So it was like very two sides of like ah and ah and awe.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't remember what we were talking about. I think I went on a tangent. I'm so sorry.
I think the screaming yep. I mean, that's all we need.
Yeah, that's all I
Yeah.
felt during all of Trevor.
Lord.
Uh,
Yeah.
On Earth, we're briefly gorgeous. In this book, we're briefly depressed.
this book, I want to die. God.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway,
Yeah.
Ashley, the honor.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
what you got for us?
Um, oh, let's see. Uh, okay, hold on.
I don't want to talk about that unless you have another question.
Huh?
I don't want to talk about that anymore unless you have another question.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. We kind of touched on really everything. Um, okay, so I did want to ask this. This is kind of a little palate cleanser, kind of getting away from content a little bit.
Okay.
I think we've all kind of mentioned this a little bit here and there, but like, what did y'all think of the poetry, the imagery? Do you think it was too flowery? Do you think it was like taking away from the plot? Or, I mean, it was kind of just like I don't think there really was a plot. But what I'm trying to
Yes,
say
there
is
was. The
like,
plot was
what did,
child abuse.
that is true. Yes, there was abuse, trauma.
Abuse. Drama. Sorry, you're saying.
Uh, I was just saying, like, for example, I listened to this book, so it might have been well, also, I probably, I'm curious how, if I read this, I would think any different. But, do you think it distracted sometimes? Like, and I'm talking about like the over imagery, like, and how the lampshade reflected onto the floor and there was a bug there, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, that's just me personally. Like, sometimes I got very lost in the imagery, and then I'm like, what like, are we scene setting? Are we doing a metaphor? Um, so I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts on, I guess, like the imagery of this book.
Yeah, there are a few of those left field moments where you're like, "Oh, okay, that's an interesting way to describe that." But I always like chalked it off, chalked it out, chalked it. What's
Hmm.
that saying? Chalked it out, chalked it
Chalked it up.
off, chalked it up,
Oh yeah.
up, chalked it up. I always chalked it up to being like a like oh he's just a poet, you know.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think
There
I.
was probably a deeper meaning in there, but like Kylie, I was speed reading.
Yeah, I will say. So here's something I will say about book club is, um, through book club, you two have challenged my like reading comprehension and reading ability. I will say, because I would say you guys, I did pick a flowery book for September because you guys have inspired me so. But you guys have like I think kind of helped my tolerance with that in a very positive way for me. To where this book didn't bother me that much. I was just like, as soon as it kept like started being flowery, I was like, oh god. And then I was like, no, no, no. We're gonna have a positive outlook, and then I ended up really liking it. So and this one, like, this is like what was that other flowery fucking book? Oh, like a fucking Piranesi, a fucking amazing book. So wordy and flowery descriptions because it's fantasy. It's fantastical, right? It
Oh
has
yeah.
to be. So I think it kind of.
I loved every second of that book.
So I think it kind.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. So I think it kind of like I don't know, built my tolerance for it. So, and I think also to echo what you're saying, Cass, is I just was like, oh, this is poetry and not a novel. And I was able to
Yeah, right.
digest it. I was able to just digest it easier.
Be like, okay,
I
that's just what we're doing. All right.
Yeah.
She bent her head down and it fell off. Yes,
yeah.
Yes, yes, check mark, please.
got you. Understood.
That's interesting because I thought like I was especially at the beginning I was like, "Oh, Kylie is not gonna enjoy this book." But funny enough, I got at the beginning I was into it, but then I think it was also just like I think content-wise I was very shook up. And it's like don't try to describe the butterflies flying around after you just told me that. You know? It's like don't try to I'm like, hold on." It's
Yeah,
I also
he's
am
like,
curious
yeah,
if it's
this guy
like
just fucked me up. Anyway, the flowers are really beautiful where we laid, and the bugs started crawling over us, and it was so beautiful. And then he punched me in the face. And then it was so nice because I got to breathe in fresh air from my broken nose. And you're like, what the fuck going
or
on?
like yeah, it's like I was or yeah, it was something like he was like there I think in Trevor's part, it was very like when I wanted him to be clear, like I wanted to know more, he wouldn't. And I'm like, I'm curious if this is like this little dog being like, I'm going to disassociate right now and think about something else. Cause that's what I kind of thought. I was like, all right, we don't want to think about that right now. Cause it's not like he's trying to hide anything from his mom because he can't read English. So it's like there's no reason to not put it all out there. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
no one is from little dog's perspective, no one is going to read these letters, right? So I'm like, maybe we can't even handle some things,
mm,
like even if
yeah.
we're writing it to no one. And so like yeah, there's sometimes where I was like, "Ocean, please focus. The Jolly Rancher. I don't care where." Like,
It's cold and
like
sticky in my
I know,
mouth.
Yeah, I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "I held it in between my fingers." I'm like, "Gross. Now your fingers are sticky, and let's." I get it, we're a poet, but, like, what's happening right now? But I think I just was, like, already so wrecked from this book where I'm like, "Please just make it end." Like,
Yeah, thank God it wasn't that
yeah.
long. Jesus.
Yeah. Honestly, it felt like I'm not kidding y'all, like, I literally, cause I listened to this book while I'm driving or, like, in the gym, and I was like, there were some parts and I would just literally have to stop it and, like, listen to music because I'm like, "I can't start my day like this.
No.
This is not." Or sometimes too, I listen at the end of the day and I'm like, "I can't go to bed like that." Like, it took me a minute it really took me, like, whole entire month. It was like it really wasn't a long audiobook, it was, like, 6, 7 hours. It took me the entire month to listen to. I also had some other stuff, like, just overwhelming, like, school, work, being crazy, and it's like, and then I got abused, and I'm like, "This I am not mentally have the mental bandwidth for this right now."
I definitely did not
Even
either.
though
Ugh. Ugh.
yeah, so I'm sorry, everyone. This is
Yeah, way to be a
because
fucking
okay.
downer, Ashley.
I was telling Cass when you were getting ready for the stream, I'm like, I need to pick something. Like, we need to do another fantasy because this is this was a lot.
Um,
But
yeah. Well, you
yeah.
guys got we'll talk about it in a second. Let's finish what we're doing.
Yeah. I also wanted to comment too, like I know we said this a couple times, but I just want to defend myself a little bit. When I watch some of these YouTubers and they like review books, all this stuff, but of course they're not giving spoilers, too much information. And I've seen so many people recommend this book, and this is how I'm not kidding you. They're like, it is so profound. It has changed my perspective. It is such a like you must read it. And the way they were presenting it, I'm like, it's inspiring. Like, wow, they seem so inspired. Like, I'm gonna pick this book. And then you read the synopsis and you're like, okay, there's some challenges. And then you read it and you're like, "Oh, no. This was I was not prepared."
You
But
know,
yeah,
you know what?
I should have done a little more research before just being like, "You know what? This one." But I was very not prepared for this book.
You know what though? I bet you know who I would absolutely fucking recommend this book to? I would recommend this
Who?
book to people who have never had an empathetic thought in their fucking life. You know what I mean? Like those people who are like almost like film bros. I guess those would be book elitist people who are like, yeah, very profound. I like profound work, blah, blah, blah. I would give them this book to let them see something other than themselves for one fucking moment. Like, if you're a fucking narcissist,
Mhm.
maybe read this book. I don't know. Maybe give yourself some therapy through this book and take perspective taking. How about that? So no, I think it was great, Ashley, but I think for us it's a little different because we're all three very empathetic people, and I can speak for that because
Yeah.
we are all trained to be therapists in one way or the other. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. So I think we uh didn't need a lesson in perspective taking. I think that
That's
we do
very
it very
true.
well. So, yeah. So I don't want you to
I
feel
think
bad about, picking this book because I think
no.
there are people who need to read this fucking book.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, in part 1, I was like, "Oh, wow, like, this is something." Like, from my own perspective, I've never like, I want to, like, broaden my horizons, like, right, be more empathetic, be in someone else's shoes, but it was like, "And now we're gonna go deeper, and now we're gonna go darker," and I was like, "Okay, it's enough slices," like,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay."
It's a
But
lot.
but but like you said, I think it's an important like, I love how you put it where it's like, it's, read it once and, um, sit with it, be like it's one of those things where it's important to know that, like that someone's people go through this. It's like little dog might not be real, but the trauma, the abuse, the everything, like people go through that,
Mhm.
and yeah.
Exactly. Because little dog might not be real, but I have a friend in real life who
Right.
this was very much her life. You know, little dog might not be real, but I'm real too.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm fine, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. But no, but I hear what you're saying, and I really do appreciate you picking this book, honestly, because I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, honestly, because I was like, ew, gross, flowery language, and then I was hooked. So, thank
Yeah. I was the opposite. I was like hooked, and then I was like, enough. Get
you.
tell me where are we? What's happening?
Should we do
Yeah.
our fun questions and end on a high note?
Yes.
All right. Fun questions. Favorite character? Who's got one? We know yours, Ash.
Yeah.
Nine. Cass, you have a
Then.
favorite one?
I think mom, because she's so fucking complicated.
Mm. You do like complex characters. That makes sense.
I love an anti-hero.
So does
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. Um,
Oh, fuck.
I knew you would like that. I knew you would love that answer. Okay, hold on. Let me think. Favorite character. Um, okay. Besides Little Dog, because I think we could all say we love Little Dog, the deepest of
Mhm.
core. But I would also say Trevor, because also complex character, and I'm very sad, and I just want someone to be nice to Trevor. Just wanted someone not to
Little dog.
prescribe Trevor Oxy at 10 years old. I'm sorry, yes?
I was gonna say little dog was nice to him.
He
And he
was.
did cherish little dog in his way. He did cherish him.
He did. He was also the worst in some ways, but also very sweet. Like when he clapped for him when he danced in the dress. That was cute. I did like that.
That was really. I was. That was also where I'm like, Trevor, what? You're like, I can't, do this because I'm not gay, and then you're like, right, and then you have this really cute moment with little dog. I'm like, just accept it. There's
Literally.
nothing wrong with it. It's fine. Like,
Ah,
it's okay. Anyway.
I agree. Okay. Soundtrack. Ashley has said that she has
Oh,
a fucking answer for this, so
I
you're going first.
I have an answer. So, when he's doing his little imagery, like, la 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 la, the Jolly Rancher is green in my pocket. Um, very like, oh, I'm forgetting the word. String quartet, like, kind of wispy, dreamlike. We're kind of in a memory kind of thing. But I think when we're talking about like for example lawn or like the salon or things like that, it's just like ambient noise from
Mm,
the, you know what I mean, like it's I'm trying to think of a movie that does something like that where I
yeah.
guess kind of like um Forrest Gump, where it's like if there's any kind of music in the movie, it's from the natural environment in the movie, if that makes sense. Like the song you're
Mm-hmm.
hearing in the soundtrack is from the car radio, or the song you're hearing from whatever is from the diner radio. You know what I mean? And then everything
Mm-hmm.
else is just real world noise. That's how I imagine this book. But like when he's kind of, going on a very poetic thing, it might be a little bit of like cello going on.
Mm. So I'm listening to it now and it's making me laugh. I'm sorry. I'm trying to decide if I want to play this fucking shit on stream. Sorry, it made me laugh harder than I wanted it to. Cassidy, do you have an answer before I do some stupid shit?
Not really. I think it's just sad classical piano shit. Claire de Lune on repeat.
So, okay, so have you guys? Sorry, that's annoying. I gotta be serious now. This is a serious book.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the movie The Lighthouse
No.
No.
with William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson?
No.
So I'm gonna play you the Oast. It's called The Lighthouse, and it's the main theme song. I'm gonna play it through stream. Okay. Do you both of you have stream up?
Yeah.
Cass, do you? Or I'll play it through the I'll play it through Discord if you need to. If I need to.
Please play Discord.
Play it through Discord. Okay. Ba-ba-ba. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Actually, I'll just send you the link and then you can listen at your leisure. I'll just do that. That will be easier. That way I don't kill stream by accident. Oh my god, an ad. I don't care about this NASA engineered AC. Anyway. Okay. Cass, I'm gonna put it in general. So both of you can listen to that for a second. And I'm gonna play it on stream in a second once I make sure that I'm not gonna get copyright. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Oh god, that's so fucking loud. This, the whole time.
Okay. I can't hear anything. Hold on, wait. Is it on stream? Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
This sounds like the unnecessarily large middle school trombone section learning about glissandos. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the middle school orchestra next door trying to tune.
Yeah.
That's horrendous.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
See? That's what I thought of the whole time.
It sounds like sinking boat, like the sound that a sinking boat would make under the ocean, just like just metal creaking. Wow.
Yeah. God, I'm gonna have to edit that out of the fucking recording. But
Wow, that's ominous.
yeah, it's very ominous and scary. And that's how I think the soundtrack should sound the whole time.
Okay, all right.
Just terrifyingly scary, creepy, unnerving.
Please, yeah.
Just the most unnerving noises ever. And I think that's
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
I like that it just goes back. It just oscillates. It's like horn, horn. It's predictable and also horrible.
Like this book, in a way.
Just like life.
Just like life. Oh my god. Okay. Is that all the fun questions we got? That's our two ones we normally do.
I can't believe we had fun questions for this book.
If you could punch any character from this book, who would it be? You can only choose one. That's my fun question.
Oh. The Vietnam War.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like it.
I'd punch it right in the nose.
Nice. I like that answer. Ashley?
Oh, you know what? I forgot about a favorite, a good character. Is the grandpa who's not actually grandpa.
I love Paul.
He's great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anywho.
Ashley, what was your answer?
Wait, what? For what? Oh, Punch? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I guess his dad, but he's already in prison,
Trevor's
so
dad.
probably. Oh, yeah, Trevor's dad. I was saying Little Dog's dad, but,
Also little
That guy
dog.
too.
This is true. Just dads.
Yeah, just the two dads, I
yeah.
think.
Mhm.
I would also punch
And
the
his
men
mom.
eating the monkey. I would also punch those guys.
That's
Yeah,
a good
ew,
one. Yeah.
gross.
I didn't like that.
So gross.
I
Golly.
didn't. Oh
Golly.
fuck! I didn't add animal cruelty in there. God,
Oh,
knew I
yeah.
missed one. Jesus, so many trigger warnings. It's okay. We don't have to talk about
This
the
is
monkey.
this is like our egg and spoon discussion where when we're like, yeah, nothing happened in the book except for the part where the dragon become
Yes.
soldiers and the dragon is crying because of the world and blah blah and the except like everything. Nothing happened in this book except everything. And that was this book. You're just like, yeah, there wasn't really a plot except for um yeah, all of it.
Just
There was
life,
there was there was no plot except
all of it.
it was all plot. Because we just keep going. We keep being like, oh yeah, Trevor's dad who's a dick. Oh yeah, little dog's dad who's in prison. Oh yeah, Paul who's grandpa who's not actually grandpa because of these many complicated things. And also the people who were eating the monkey. And also the drag show that happens for your morale every evening. And you're just like, oh Lord God, it never
Yeah.
stops.
Yes.
Okay, is that it?
I think so.
All right. Any last words before I say thank you?
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Slay! Okay, thank you everyone for joining us for book club. Woo-hoo! It was a little depressing this time, but thanks for joining us. It was a journey, and we made it. Good job, everybody! High five, virtual high five.
Woo.
Yay.
Woo.
May we
So
all be a little happier
deal.
now that we've gotten through this story.
Jesus.
Mhm.
In the chat, you'll see a link to the Discord. If you want updates for book club, there is the link. September's book club is in fact Cloud Cuckoo Land. It's a doozy. It's a really big book. It's a really big book, and it also has a little bit of flowery language. Just throwing it out there, but it is very wild so far. I've started it, so click that link. It'll show you all the books. For October and November and December, I will have those by next week. We're only going to have 2 more books this year, and that is for October and November. December, we will do our book reviews again, as well as go over 2 of our bonus books that we did not go over this year.
Oh my god.
So,
I forgot
Right.
about those.
what?
I forgot about those
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah, we got to go over those by December. So we're going to probably plan some of those bonus streams in.
Woo.
And then that'll be it. That's all I got. All right.
Yeah.
Woo. Ashley's going to pick another depressing book for October. You get spooky
No.
month.
No.
Or no, you get
Oh,
November.
yeah.
You get November. So you get cozy month. You get a cozy book.
Yes. I will.
Cassidy gets
You guys.
spooky month.
I will do my research, y'all. Don't worry.
We're definitely reading a spooky book in October.
I'm so
I have a
excited.
whole little spooky section on my shelf that I haven't read yet, so
I'm thrilled.
I shall pick a spooky book.
Ashley, feel free to pick a cozy Christmas book if you would like.
What I was thinking. I don't know.
Feel free. Feel free to do that. Not to influence your decision, but God, that means I start us off next year in January. My birth month. Oh my God.
Mm.
I'm gonna pick a book about death for my birth
Okay.
month.
All right.
Yeah, that's on track. All right, that's that's all we got. Goodbye, everybody. It feels weird ending stream, but that's it. See you later, Gators. I'll see you guys maybe this weekend or maybe next week. I don't fucking know. I'm working 60 hours coming up. So who's to say? Or no, 40 hours. We're going to make it. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Have a good
Bye.
Friday.